girls, I'm here again. We're going to start reading through our story, Schools Around the World. And what we're going to do is we're really going to think about how are the schools similar and how are schools different. That's our topic for this story. Now, get your brain ready, turn it on, and let's get going. Topic, how are schools similar? How are schools different? Genre, that means what is the type of story that we're going to be reading? This story is an informational text. It's a nonfiction story. It gives us information and facts about a topic. Now, during our reading of this story, I want you to activate your brain and get it ready for thinking and learning. I want you to think about, how do these schools relate to Jefferson School? So schools around the world will incorporate schools in America and schools all over the country. And I want you to really think, how do these schools relate to Jefferson? How are they similar and how are they different? Schools Around the World by Margaret C. Hall. Let's get started. All around the world, children go to school. Some children spend most of their day at school. Others spend only a few hours there. These students in an American classroom start their day by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Hey, that's what we do. Schools are different in different parts of the world, but they are all the same in one way. Schools are where children go to school. Down at the bottom, we have some amazing school facts. It says, a long time ago, a German man started a new kind of school. He called this school kindergarten. He thought that small children should grow like flowers in a garden. School buildings. The kind of school buildings children have depends on where they live. It depends on the climate and the resources of their community. School buildings can be large or small. They can be made from many different materials. Some children even go to school outside or in buildings with no walls. These students in Tibet, China are about to start their morning classes. Ding, ding, ding! Another amazing school fact. Schools have been around for thousands of years. The first schools were started to teach children about their culture. Interesting. Ooh, getting to school. Before I read this page, I want you to think in your mind. The heading is at the top of the page. It's in yellow and it's in red and big red letters. It says, getting to school. Now, knowing what you know about headings, what do you think this page will be about? Remember, the author puts text features in the story to help us understand and to give us clues about what this story is about. Getting to school. Oh, I know. This page must talk about how students get to school in the morning and how they get home. I can tell because I see a boy riding a bike, and I know that at Jefferson School, sometimes students ride their bikes to school. Sometimes they walk or ride on a bus or drive in a car. How do you get to school? Children travel to school in many different ways. The kind of transportation that they use depends on where they live. It may also depend on how far they have to go. Many children walk or ride bicycles to school. Others ride in cars, on buses, or on a train. Some children go to school on a boat. Can you imagine going to school on a boat? School clothing. Children around the world wear different kinds of school clothing. What they wear often depends on the climate where they live. It also depends on what season it is. In some schools, the children all dress alike. If they all dress the same, what is that called? What do they all wear? Do you remember? You're right, uniforms. They all wear uniforms. Students from different schools wear different uniforms. Ooh, I see a caption. Remember, a caption goes underneath a picture to describe what's happening in the photograph. It says, students at this girls' school in Panama wear blue skirts and sweaters as part of their uniform. Why might some children wear warmer clothes than children in another part of the world? Think about it. If we live in Connecticut and we have a winter season, what kind of clothes do we wear in the winter? What kind of clothes do we wear in the spring or the fall? The clothes that we wear change depending on the weather outside, right? Okay, the school day. These students in Germany are learning a science lesson on a class trip with their teacher. How fun. All around the world, teachers help students learn new things. Children do some schoolwork in groups. They do other schoolwork on their own. Most children eat lunch or a snack at school. They may also have time to play. At many schools, children take class trips too. Let's go back to this part here. Let's think about it. How do these schools relate to Jefferson School? How does their school day relate to ours? Well, let's think for a minute. We do reading. We do math. We do science. We do writing. We do social studies. Am I missing it? We do phonics. We do centers, right? You work in groups a lot of times. You work by yourself a lot of times. You work on the floor. You work in a chair. You work on a bouncy ball. You work on a wobble stool, right? The way that we learn changes depending on what we're learning. Learning to read and write. One important job for teachers is to help children learn to read and write. Students learn to read and write in many different languages. The language children use at school depends on where they live. Some children study their own language and another language too. Let's stop and let's look at the text features. I see a caption up here and I see a photograph, 2 photographs on this page. How do the photographs and captions help you to understand more about the schools? Well, let's look. The caption says, this teacher answers a question for his students at a school in Cuba. So this caption helps me to understand that the students are learning in Cuba from their teacher who's helping them to understand a question. And this helps me, if I can't read these words, I can tell that this page must be about reading because I see a girl holding a book. Okay, good. Other lessons. Let's read the caption first. At an American school overseas, students study a map of Europe. Other lessons. Children learn many things at school. All around the world, they study math and science. They learn about their own country and other countries too. Many children around the world study art and music in school. They may also learn how to use a computer. In this photograph, these students in Great Britain practice playing music at school. School chores. Most children have chores to do at school. They help keep the classroom neat and clean. They may even help to set up the classroom every day. In some places, children work to keep the schoolyard neat and clean. Some children may serve lunch to one another. In this school in Japan, students help serve lunch. Now, I'm going to pause for a moment and I'm going to think about how do these schools relate to Jefferson School? Well, in our classroom, we don't call them chores, we call them jobs, right? All of these things help to keep our school and our classroom running smoothly and neat. And you always help me out. So that's how our schools are similar to the schools in the story. After school, some children go to school when the day is over. They may have a tutor to help them with the subjects that are harder for them. Some children have other lessons after school. They study things they cannot learn in school. They may learn about dance, music, or their own culture. This one has 2 captions on this page. This teacher gives extra help to students after school. These boys in Israel learn about their culture. I know that we have some students in our classroom who go to Polish school on the weekend. Special schools. Right? Students at this boarding school. Have you heard of a boarding school? Let's read more about it. Students at this boarding school eat, study, and live together. Special schools. Some children live at their schools. These schools are called boarding schools. The children go home for visits and on holidays. This girl cannot see. She goes to a school where she can learn to read and write in a special way. People who are blind read with their fingers. They use a system of raised dots called Braille. Homeschooling. A home can also be a school. Some parents teach their children at home. They want to decide exactly what their children will learn. People at school will often help parents plan home lessons for their children. Many children who study at home go to a school for gym or art classes. In this picture, the mother is teaching her daughter at home. Wow, so these are some differences. How are schools different? These schools are very different from Jefferson School because we don't live at Jefferson, right? We go home every day. Now in this one, at Jefferson School, if you come to Jefferson School, then you're not homeschooled because you come to school every day and you come to learn in a classroom with other students and a teacher. But in these pictures, these students are being taught at home. It's interesting. School and work. Some children work as performers. They spend part of their day practicing the work that they do. They spend the rest of their day studying regular school activities. In this picture, the students below perform at a traditional Russian dance. Wow. Oh, ding, ding, ding. An amazing school fact. It says one of the subjects that was taught in ancient Greece was gymnastics. The ancient Greeks thought gymnastics was just as important to learn as math or reading. In this picture, the boy is learning gymnastics. Wow. How do performers go to a special school? Well, performers practice so much. They don't have time to go to a regular school. But wait, what do you think a performer's school day is like? Well, they probably practice a lot, and then they probably go and do their studies. Wow, they're really busy. Older students. Many people go to school even after they are adults. They may go to college, or they may go to a trade school to learn how to do a certain job. Adults can also take classes for fun. They study different languages, and they learn how to do things. No matter how old students are, they go to school to learn. Even Miss Knowles. You know, when I go into the classroom every day, I'm also learning. I'm learning from you. You teach me things all the time that I didn't know before. So even when you're an adult, you're still learning. So now that we finished reading and listening to our story, I want to talk about this light bulb right here. It says, after reading. After reading, think about, what new information did you learn? What did you learn from this story? Well, I learned that students from other countries learn outside. Some of them even go to boarding schools, and they live at their schools. What's something that you learned? After this video, I want you to go find your family and tell them 2 things that you learned from this story. Say, hey, did you know that blah, 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 blah? What did you learn from this story?